and Congress have no real agenda to talk about.
Tamil Nadu is India's most industrialized state, accounting for over 15% of all factories in the country.
Amid the freebies debate, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin in an event has said that expenditure which is incurred by the government on education and health cannot be considered as freebies.
ये रेवड़ी कल्चर देश के विकास के लिए बहुत घातक है.
The state has been lobbying hard to attract investors over the last few months as it aims to build a $1 trillion economy by 2030.
Hi everybody, Tamil Nadu is one of the most incredible states of India, and the people and leaders of Tamil Nadu have done such an incredible job that today, while India's graduate enrollment rate stands at 29%, in the US it stands at 37%, but in Tamil Nadu it stands at 49%. Similarly, from 2012 to 2018, while India's per capita income increased by 38%, Tamil Nadu's per capita income increased by 90.2%. And most importantly, Tamil Nadu has done such an incredible job with women empowerment that today, while the national average of women participation in workforce stands at just 19%, in Tamil Nadu it is double of that and stands at 38.3%. And the most shocking fact of all is that one of the major instruments of this growth has been freebies. For those who don't know, freebies are nothing but products or services given to the people by the government for free or at a very, very low cost. In this case, the Tamil Nadu government distributed free color televisions, made bus travel free for women, and even gave out free books, bags, and meals to children in government schools. And every time the government of Tamil Nadu did something like this, they got criticized by the media and even by our Prime Minister for draining the finance of the state. And it does make sense, because why would you give out free stuff, and that too with public money? But as it turns out, the Tamil Nadu government has done such an amazing job that it has come up as one of the most progressive states of India. And this is not just in terms of welfareism, but also in terms of industrial growth. And today, they are the third largest export state in India with an export of $30.5 billion. The question is, how can freebies that cost thousands of crores to the government lead to the growth of Tamil Nadu? How do you analyze and differentiate between good and bad freebies? And most importantly, as citizens of India, what are the study materials to help you understand the finances and the freebies of your state better? And if this makes sense to you, please share this with as many people as possible so that they can get educated before they cast the votes for the political parties. This video is brought to you by Cuckoo FM, but more on this at the end of the video. The first thing we need to understand is the difference between a merit freebie and a non-merit freebie. You see guys, merit freebie is something that benefits the country, such as subsidized or free education. So let's say the government gives out an 80,000 rupees subsidy to an economically backward student to help him study engineering. Now, although it costs the government 80,000 rupees per student, it almost serves like an investment for the government. How? Because had the student not studied engineering and got into the market as a 12th pass student, he would barely get a job that pays him 10 to 15,000 rupees. But after he completes engineering, even a basic IT job would pay him 30 to 40,000 rupees. So in the next 2 years, when he gets an increment and his salary increases to 6 lakh rupees per annum, he would become a tax-paying citizen. And after 10 years, he would be making 20 lakh rupees per year and would pay lakhs of rupees per year in just taxes. Similarly, when this subsidy produces 1 lakh engineers, tomorrow these IT graduates could serve as a workforce for Infosys and TCS, who could then get more foreign clients. So eventually the export bill of India in the software services market increases by a large extent. So you see, while subsidized education costs the government very heavily, it also leads to a more educated and skilled workforce, and more importantly, it gives the government 2x, 3x the return on investment within just 5 years itself. This is what you call as a merit freebie, which ends up creating a virtuous cycle over the due course of time in the economy of India. And then we have something called a non-merit freebie, which is something that barely has a long-term benefit to the society and the economy at large. And a classic example of the same is free electricity to farmers. Now you see, if the state government gives out free electricity to 10 lakh farmers, an optimistic argument would say that although it costs the government 10,000 crores, when we give free electricity to the farmers, they would save this excess money from electricity bill, invest it in better technology, buy better fertilizers, and increase the quality and quantity of the yield. And if that is done, they would sell a better and more quantity of the produce in the market and make more money. Therefore, free electricity could be empowering for the farmers and will lift them out of poverty. Now, this argument sounds pretty good, right? But in reality, what happens is that when the government gives out free electricity, especially in states like Punjab, the farmers leave their pump sets on even when they don't use them. On top of that, they don't make any investment into better technology or fertilizers because nobody educated these farmers about the latest technologies in the market. In addition to that, in states like Punjab, because of free electricity, farmers choose to grow a water-intensive crop like rice, even if it's a semi-arid region, as in a dry climate region. This has led to the groundwater depletion in Punjab. So even though on paper it looks like a great scheme of empowerment, at the end of the day, it costs the government 10 to 12,000 crores in capital, and that too because of recklessness, does not result into anything better in terms of quantity or quality of the produce. And the worst part is that the most precious resource of all, which is groundwater, it gets depleted. So this freebie is practically an economic nightmare. Now the question over here is, why would any government give out a non-merit freebie, and why would the state government drain its own money just to give out free stuff to people? Well, the answer is very simple. You see, election campaigns cost the political parties hundreds, if not thousands of crores just to please the voters. And it's very, very difficult to gather these funds from the donors. But if that party is in power, what they could do is, instead of spending 10,000 crores of party funds to please the farmers, they would use the public money to devise a scheme of free electricity. And that would please the farmers. And then they would go and ask these farmers for votes and they would get it. In fact, farmers in some states actually wait for elections just to get loan waivers. So by using public money, the political parties can legally spend thousands of crores to win a particular vote bank. So if this is very, very clear to you, let's come to the heart of our case study, which is Tamil Nadu.
அவருக்கு போட்டியாக நான் இருக்கேங்கிற சொல்லிக்கிறதுக்கு தயாராக இல்லை. ஆனால் அவர் எனக்கு போட்டியாக இருக்கிற தகுதியை உருவாக்கிக்கணுங்கிறதுக்காக கிட்டத்தட்ட 1000 கோடி ரூபாய் செலவு பண்ணி பத்திரிகைகளை விளம்பரங்கள், மீடியாக்களை விளம்பரங்கள், அது அரசு பணத்தை செலவு பண்ணிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறாரு.
Main issue in this election is the all-pervasive corruption indulged in by Mr. Karunanidhi, his family members, the domination of Mr. Karunanidhi's family over all affairs in the state.
If there is any party that is synonymous with corruption, that is DMK.
You see guys, the leaders of Tamil Nadu have constantly been accused of giving out freebies to please the voters. And this questioning has been happening since the past 50 years, irrespective of which party was in power. They gave out free television, food, school bags, free meals, cycle, laptops, and even two-wheelers at a dirt cheap cost. In fact, when I read these headlines, even I felt agitated by the fact that politicians are using public money to fund their marketing strategies. But you know what guys, I was actually wrong. And surprisingly, even though Tamil Nadu has given out a lot of freebies, most of them have given the state an extraordinary return on investment, both in terms of economics and social indicators. So let's take a look at the most popular freebies that Tamil Nadu has given out and understand how they've actually played out in the real world. Have they turned out to be merit freebies or non-merit freebies? The first and the most absurd form of freebie was giving out color TVs to the people of Tamil Nadu in 2006. And this is when a 750 crore budget was specially allocated for distributing 25 lakh TV sets in the villages of Tamil Nadu. Now the obvious question over here is, how can distributing TV sets give you a return on investment? Well, the answer to this lies in this research paper. This research was conducted in Tamil Nadu, Delhi, Bihar, Haryana and Goa to evaluate the impact of television in the attitudes and behavior of rural women. And the results of this research were absolutely mind-blowing. You see guys, while we have the luxury of access to content with YouTube, Twitter and OTT, what we fail to realize is that even today, there are millions of households in India where they don't have television. And this study was done way back in 2003. So you can imagine the rural women of India had literally no exposure to what's happening outside their village and outside their house. A simple relatable example would be the subject of LGBTQ to help you understand the power of content. Do you realize 10 years back when the LGBTQ movement started, most of us thought it to be yet another bizarre concept. But over the due course of time, as we started to see more and more people talk about it, as more and more celebrities started to talk about it, and most importantly, when people in our own friend circle started coming out, we started to see the normalization of the LGBTQ community. And now, the acceptance of the LGBTQ community is happening rapidly. Similarly, today awareness about sexual harassment is extremely high because of social media. So just like we became more aware and awakened due to media, for the rural women of India back in 2003, they became aware about domestic violence, female infanticide and gender equality through TV serials and movies. So when television was introduced in these villages, there was a drastic change in their attitude. And here are the graphs to help you understand the magnitude of the impact of color television. This graph represents 4 categories of villages. The first type of village is where cable was not introduced till 2003. The second type is when cable was introduced in 2001, then in 2002, then in 2003 respectively. So let's start with the first graph that shows the effect of cable on female autonomy. As you can see, the level of autonomy where cable was never introduced was very, very low. But the moment cable got introduced in 2001 in type 1, the autonomy increased for all 3 years. Similarly, in type 2 villages, after cable was introduced in 2002, suddenly the female autonomy spiked in 2002, and same is the case when cable was introduced in 2003. Similarly, in this graph you can see the effect of cable on the enrollment of girls in schools between the age of 6 to 14. Here again, when cable was not introduced, the enrollment was less, but in 2001 it increased drastically, and same is the case with 2002. And in type 4, for some reason, enrollment fell in 2002, but in 2003, after cable was introduced, the enrollments increased. And lastly, as you can see from this graph, the preference of son has decreased by a large extent after the introduction of cable. This is the reason why the Tamil Nadu government decided to give out television sets to spread awareness and empowerment among the rural citizens of Tamil Nadu. So you see, what looks like a non-merit freebie might actually be a merit freebie, provided you understand the story behind it. The second freebie that was again questioned was the allowance of free bus travel for women in Tamil Nadu.
அவங்க அப்பன் பரம்பரை சொத்தை வித்துட்டு பஸ் வாங்கி ஓட்டின மாதிரி.
மகளிருக்கு இலவசம் என்று சொன்னதிலிருந்து பஸ் டிரைவர் கண்டக்டர்கள் மதிப்பதில்லை என அப்பகுதி பெண்கள் சரமாரியாக குற்றம் சாட்டினர்.
தயவு செஞ்சு சொல்றோம், இந்த ஃப்ரீ பஸ்ன்றது எங்களுக்கு வேண்டாம், நாங்க ஃப்ரீ பஸ் கேட்கவே இல்ல.
For this, the state government had provided an annual subsidy of 1,200 crores to compensate for the fare loss due to this scheme. And again, the insight behind this was fascinating. To tell you about it, unfortunately, the women in India are extremely suppressed. Now, whether this is about taking opinions in family matters, financial decisions, or even about going out to work, in the race of keeping our women at home, what we don't realize is that it's not just the family income that is decreasing, but it is also costing the economy very, very heavily. And considering the fact that 40% of the bus passengers in Tamil Nadu are women, transportation plays a vital role in women empowerment in Tamil Nadu. Now, just to give you the magnitude of how backward we are as a country, you need to have a look at this stat. While in China, which has more or less the same population as us, as of 2021, 41% of China's GDP contribution was done by Chinese women. Whereas in 2022 also, Indian women barely contribute 18% of our GDP. And if you look at our labor force participation in India, it has fallen from 32% in 2006 to just 19% in 2021. In fact, the global average itself stands at 47%. Secondly, when it comes to buying a vehicle, the men of the house in India are the first ones to get a bike, and the women again have to rely on public transportation. And this is not just to go to work, but also to run errands like buying vegetables, picking kids from school, and many other small things that make a big difference to the budget of the family. So if these women spend all the money to make bus trips, they again have to rely on the males of the house for survival. So mobility for the women in the lower economic strata is a life-changing opportunity. And lastly, culturally, Asian women tend to save more and be more judicious with the finance of the house as compared to the men in the Asian societies. In fact, you must have heard stories about your grandmothers hiding money in rice containers or wheat baskets. So any amount of money saved by the women in the Indian society is more likely to be put to good use. This is the reason why the government of Tamil Nadu launched a scheme to give out free bus rides for women. And this has undoubtedly had a tremendous impact on the women of Tamil Nadu. For example, this is a confession that's coming from Lata, who's a saleswoman in Tamil Nadu. And she pointed out that she is now able to save up to 1,000 rupees per month on transportation expenses. And coming from a struggling family, she is now able to put this amount aside for her children's food and education. In addition to that, she and her children are also able to visit other parts of the city during weekends without having to worry about travel costs. Another story comes from a 23-year-old domestic health worker named Miss Rukmani. Unfortunately, her husband is no more, so every penny that she saves is a big deal for her and her children. And after the scheme rolled out, she is able to save 150 rupees per day to commute to work, and now she is saving this money to buy books for her children. And if you look at the macro data of the scheme, even that is quite impressive. When the Aam Aadmi Party launched free bus scheme in Delhi, the data shows that around 3 crore women availed this free bus service in 2021 and 22. And after this bus scheme, Delhi buses saw a 10% increase in the number of women ridership. And in Chennai, the data is even more fascinating. It suggests that implementation of the scheme saw an increase in women's ridership from 40 to 61%. So again, this freebie has turned out to be a merit freebie. Similarly, Tamil Nadu government has introduced midday meals for school children, which is now being rolled out all across the country, free bicycles, again to empower women to go out, free school textbooks and school bags for girls to decrease their barrier to education, and immunization and hospital treatment, and even a 50,000 rupees fixed deposit for girl children to ensure that they have significant amount of capital returns when they turn 18 years old. And the result is absolutely mind-boggling. Like I said before, Tamil Nadu's graduate enrollment ratio stands at 49%, which is one of the highest in the world. And while the national average is just 29%, even the US stands at 37%. The female workforce participation in Tamil Nadu stands at 38.3%, which is almost double the national average. And from 2012 to 2018, while India's per capita income increased by 38%, Tamil Nadu's per capita income has increased by 90.2%. And thirdly, even their debt to GSDP ratio stands at a healthy 27.4%, whereas Punjab and Rajasthan stand at 53.3% and 40.5% respectively. Now most people will be like, bro, isn't it costing the state thousands of crores of money? If yes, then how are they managing their debt? Well, as it turns out, this is actually draining out the money of the state because Tamil Nadu's interest payments to revenue receipts is one of the highest in the country at 21%, which is almost the same as Punjab, which stands at 21.3%. Whereas according to RBI, this number should ideally be less than 10%. Similarly, this RBI document also says that just like Punjab, even Tamil Nadu's debt to GSDP ratio is expected to increase by 2027. So it's not like everything is rosy. Tamil Nadu still needs to pay attention to these freebies and their finance, because it wouldn't take much time for these merit freebies to backfire and turn into an economic nightmare. This is how Tamil Nadu has managed to enhance its social indicators by calculatedly giving out merit freebies that do not take a heavy toll on the finance of the state as of now. So the question is, does it mean that everything that Tamil Nadu government is doing is great? Well, absolutely not. And this is what brings me to the last part of the episode, and that are the points of skepticism and study materials to help you understand and analyze the economics of Tamil Nadu and other states better. But before we move on, I want to thank our knowledge partners of this episode, and that is Cuckoo FM. People, the new year of 2023 is coming, and I'm sure you're planning for your new year goals, right? And this new year, I insist you to add another goal in your list, and that is of knowledge. Next year, make sure that you're spending at least 2 days a week listening to good content and reading good books apart from that of thinkschool and other YouTube channels. Now, where can you find all of this? Cuckoo FM. Cuckoo FM is the only startup that I know is looking to create audio content for the Indian audience in their own native language. And what I love about them is that this knowledge transfer in native language allows more exposure for Indians that was previously available only for the English-speaking audience and not for the rest of the country. Books like Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss and Rich Dad Poor Dad are available in Hindi and other languages, that too at a very, very affordable price. And it is absolutely amazing what they're trying to achieve with their content. So if this sounds interesting to you, check them out from the link in the description and use the coupon code THINK50 to get a 50% 50% discount on Kuku FM's annual subscription. Moving on, the first thing we need to keep in mind is that just because some freebies are backed up by great data, it doesn't mean the same will be the case with all other freebies. For example, I personally could not find why mixer, grinder and fan was given as freebies and what was the study behind it. So every time your state gives out a freebie, instead of blindly praising them or criticizing them, try to understand the assessment behind the freebie and then jump to a conclusion. Secondly, just because something looks like a merit freebie doesn't mean it will turn out to be that way. A classic example of the same is the free electricity given to the farmers. And lastly, I'm attaching the RBI's document and I'm also attaching the link to the Oxford research paper that will give you all the data that I presented in this case study. In fact, if you go to the end of this RBI document, you'll also find a list of other freebies given out by other states. So you can actually study them and analyze them to try and see if they are merit freebies or non-merit freebies. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.